You're watching the Global Goal Studio, and right now we're talking about youth activism and the climate crisis with Vanessa Nakate, Amber Yang, and Alexandria Villaseñor. Welcome to you all. Amber, if I could start with you with this question of, frankly, old people like me, what do you say to the older generation to get them to sit up, pay attention, and most importantly, take action?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think that the main reason why there is a lack of incentive for our biggest institutions, the biggest corporations in America to take climate seriously is because our financial incentives are not aligned to promote climate change. A lot of companies would rather take unsustainable approaches to manufacturing because it is very good for their unit economies. So until there is a clear change in our politics about whether or not, or like a tax for these companies or something to realign their financial incentives, it's really hard for these corporations to do so. So what I would say to older generations and the older generation in general is that, yes, even though these corporations are not taking immediate action, it isn't because this issue is not important. It is because our society's values are misaligned right now.
Alexandria, your group Earth Uprising says it's not an organization, it's a battle cry. What does that mean to you?
I think the reason why we say it's a battle cry and it's a movement of young people is because our generation, it's coming from the generation that will be ultimately the most impacted by the climate crisis. The climate crisis will impact every aspect of our life cycle. It will impact where we go to school, our education, what kind of job we have. So many young people are even having conversations about whether they want to have a family or not. And so the climate crisis has really fallen on the shoulders of us to make sure we mitigate the worst effects of it. And so it's a battle cry because it's young people coming together who are angry and passionate about demanding their politicians actually take action and don't just give us false promises, but actually follow through. And so if they don't, that just means that young people are going to come together even more and continue to demand them because they can't ignore us.
Excellent. And Vanessa, let's talk about the erasure of your image from a photo that's now been seen all around the world. It was a photo of young fellow activists such as yourself and 3 others at this year's World Economic Forum in Davos. Rightfully, that photo received global condemnation. But how did it affect you personally? Did it drive you to work harder?
Well, honestly, when I first saw that photo, I was really heartbroken and really disturbed. And I questioned my value and my presence at the press conference and my presence in Davos at large. But then I had the ability and the urge to ask why something like that had been done, because I believe that we cannot have climate justice if there are voices that are being erased, meaning that there is no climate justice without racial justice. There is no climate justice if it isn't global enough, if it doesn't include those communities that are affected the most. So from that photo, I have learned to work harder. I have learned to speak up louder because I have seen the power of speaking up. If there is an injustice, then you speak up against it. Because when you do, then you don't expect to see it happen again. So hopefully we will never see anything like this happen again to any other activist, because every activist has a story to tell, and every story has a solution to give, and every solution has a life to change. So every activist must be given the opportunity to change the lives of the people in their communities.
And Amber, you've spoken at length about changing the perception of what people expect a scientist to look like. How are you hoping to change those expectations?
Yeah, so I have encountered numerous situations in which I walk into a room and people just immediately don't accept the validity of my presence. I've had people question my work, whether I did it, and I've honestly many times I almost stopped. I wanted to completely study something different, change the trajectory of my career. And what I would say to young girls who are aspiring to be scientists is that no, you should not listen to what other people tell you just because you don't fit a certain mold, you don't look a certain way. Ultimately, everything that matters is your ideas, what you have to say, your creativity. And, you know, like, I think it's a huge shame if you were to give up that passion to succumb to those pressures.
Amber, Alexandria, and Vanessa, stay with us. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching the Global Goals Studio.